Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I just finished The Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 16, The Rescue, and unbelievable stuff. I did a video a few weeks ago talking about how The Mandalorian is perfect fan service, and I think this episode right here proves my point correct. This episode was amazing. Directed by Peyton Reed, the director of the Ant-Man movies, who directed episode 2 earlier this season, the kind of horror episode with the spiders. Did a pretty good job here. The action, brilliant. Action throughout. We know the story here, guys. Grogu, Baby Yoda, is in Moff Gideon's ship, and Mando was recruiting this team to take him down, to get Baby Yoda back. We've got Boba Fett, we've got Fennec, we've got Cara Dune, we've got Bo-Katan and her partner, Sasha Banks, WWE wrestler. They come up with this plan to get on the ship and get Baby Yoda back. Now, my prediction this season was I thought it would end on a cliffhanger where season 3, Mando was on a journey to get Baby Yoda back and then return him to the Jedi. That's what I thought was going to happen. But this season, it closes everything off. Now, of course, for season 3 and spin-offs, it sets things up. But for this season, this story in a whole, it closes that chapter. And this episode is pretty emotional. I'm sure if you're a fan of Star Wars all your life, you'll find this episode to be emotional. Or even if you've been a fan the last few years like I have, I found this emotional as well. This episode is perfect fan service and hits you in the feels as a Star Wars fan. I can only imagine people who are die-hard Star Wars fans who live this genre day in and day out. But of course, they get on Moff Gideon's ship. They come up with a plan, a distraction, so Mando can go off and get Baby Grogu, Baby Yoda, Grogu, Yoda, whatever you want to call it at this stage. And yeah, the action was brilliant. And the plan was to get rid of the Dark Troopers. They're a big threat. They're going to be hard to stop. And Mando goes up against one on his own, and he finds it hard to beat it. He does. Now, I don't know if the Dark Troopers are made out of Beskar as well, the same as that spear that he has, the spear that's made completely out of Beskar, which is pretty hard to beat, can go up against kind of lightsabers in a way as well. But yeah, it was brilliant. And he found it hard to beat that Dark Trooper. And he thinks he gets rid of all the other Dark Troopers. He puts them out into space and the atmosphere and they're just gone, only for them to come back at the end of the episode. But yeah, he goes off and fights Moff Gideon, and Moff Gideon's like, he's about to kill Baby Yoda, and he says, "What do you want?" And Mando's just like, "I just want the child. You can keep the sword." And the sword, of course, is to be kind of the leader, the face of the Mandalore, to be the leader of that group of people. And that's kind of what Bo-Katan wants that as well. She wants to be the leader. That's why she wants to beat Moff Gideon and get that kind of sword back. And I love the exchange between the two, and the fight was brilliant between Mando and Moff Gideon. I really, really liked it. And Mando was always going to win, but it was a bit intense. He didn't know what was going to happen to Baby Yoda, and it worked out in the end. He beats him. But then you see Bo-Katan's face. She's like, what happened? You know, and she wanted to beat Moff Gideon herself, because the only way that the sword can transfer over is if you beat the person that has it. And now she can't be the leader of the Mandalore until she beats Mando for it. And Mando's like, I don't want it, just take it. But you have to engage in battle. You have to fight for it to be handed over. So that could be something that goes into season 3. But she was pretty pissed off at that. And Moff Gideon was absolutely loving it. Now, Moff Gideon, even though he lost the fight against Mando, he always knew he had a wild card. He always knew that the Dark Troopers would come back, and they did. So when they're in the cockpit of the ship, Cara Dune, Bo-Katan, Moff Gideon is there, Mando, Baby Yoda, Dune, Sasha Banks' character, it looks like they're in real trouble. And the Dark Troopers come, and they're going through the ship, and they're pounding down the door to try and get in, and you think the team is done. How are they going to get out of this? Because Mando on his own found it hard to just beat one, and barely beat one on his own. But then this X-Wing comes in, and you're like, what's this? Who is this? And you don't see their face for a long time. It's a Jedi, a green saber, and they're slicing and dicing Dark Troopers as easy as anything. Like, who is it? I think we pretty much knew who it was, but still it was cool. Now, I thought it was going to be a faceless cameo. I thought we wouldn't see the person's face, but we just knew who it was. But they show their face. And who is it? It's a CGI'd Mark Hamill, showing how he looked in the original trilogy. He's there for Baby Yoda. He has saved the day. Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, is there in this episode. That's how badass this is. And then on top of that, RTD2 comes in. You're like, what is happening? Perfect fan service. He's there to take Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda is very, very powerful. But he wants to train Baby Yoda, because then Baby Yoda won't be in danger if he can train and show Baby Yoda the Jedi way. And there's a lovely emotional exchange between Den and Grogu, where Grogu and Den have to say goodbye. They have to depart. And we've seen these two be together for 2 seasons. We've seen the father-son relationship, and we've loved it. And my question is, can this show survive without them two being the core element of it? I think last week's episode was getting us ready for a season or episodes that didn't include Baby Yoda, because last week he wasn't in it at all. But the exchange between the two of them, Baby Yoda wants to finally see Pedro Pascal's face. And Mando takes off his helmet and shows the kid his face. And Baby Yoda is touching it. And there's a lovely exchange between the two as they depart. And Pedro Pascal's acting, absolutely brilliant. He doesn't say anything. It's just his acting. The tears in his eye. You can feel the emotion right there. But seeing Luke Skywalker come back, guys, I don't care that the CGI wasn't the best or whatever effects they used. I don't care about that. It didn't take me out of it. A little bit maybe. But it wasn't terrible. I get the message that they're conveying. And for me, it was beautifully done. To see Luke Skywalker come back into this world. And RTD2. And to see them take Grogu away and to train Grogu. I loved it. I really, really love this episode. For me, action-packed, a nice kind of heist element to it, coming up with the plan at the start of the episode with the doctor who has been experimenting on Baby Yoda, who got the blood from Baby Yoda for Moff Gideon to do whatever he wants to do. So I liked that exchange there. They plan everything out. Boba Fett is planning to pretend he's trying to shoot them down so they can get onto the ship, then Boba Fett can leave. Really well done episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fast paced. If you take out the Luke Skywalker element, it's still a pretty great episode. But adding Luke Skywalker on top of it, the lightsaber action, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. To see him just take down those dark troopers at ease, using the power of the Jedi to just crush them with his hand. Absolutely brilliant. This season for me, the 2 seasons have been brilliant. But this season for me was just the season that really made me a Star Wars fan. It did. I'm not someone who's a die-hard Star Wars fan, but this episode for me, this season for me, has hit me in ways that I didn't think would hit me. And I did like it. And I'm looking forward to season 3. I'm looking forward to the spin-offs. Looking forward to the movies. I'm looking forward to Star Wars content for someone who's practically a comic book movie fan. I'm looking forward to Star Wars. And how season 3 plays out, how the spin-offs play out. What happens to Mando now for season 3? Does Mando come back into it? Is he now the sole purpose of this show? Or is it Boba Fett in a way as well? Is it Grogu? What exactly happens? But Luke Skywalker's return here was beautifully done with RTD2. The effects weren't the best. People will complain about that, but I don't care. I don't care. As long as the storytelling is good, as long as the action is good, the effects for me are a third element. They don't have to be absolutely perfect. You know, if you can tell a good story, you can have good characters that you relate to and care for, then at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. But for me, it was okay. You know, they used Leia in Rogue One, and for me, that didn't take me out of it. I enjoyed that. I loved that. And the Darth Vader cameo as well. Absolutely brilliant. But those moments is what brings the Star Wars fandom together. And a Star Wars fandom which I have acknowledged and which I have looked at online is divided for many years, with The Force Awakens, with The Last Jedi, with The Rise of Skywalker. But I feel like The Mandalorian has brought a connective tissue with the fan base where many people love Star Wars again and engage in Star Wars and love the conversation week to week. I think it's a year since The Rise of Skywalker came out. I remember seeing that in tears. I thought it was very rushed. I'm still okay. I watched it. I've seen all these Star Wars films in theaters, Rogue One, the sequel trilogy, and I've enjoyed what I've seen, but I didn't have really a second thought of it. But The Mandalorian, I've seen myself go back and watch the episodes 2 or 3 times, spotting things that I didn't see, reading up online on names or sayings that I don't know as a Star Wars fan who hasn't read the books or played all the games or watched all the animated shows. I've done my research because I'm interested. And this season for Mandalorian is the product of Star Wars that has made me a fan. And for that's the memory I'll have of Star Wars, is this season of The Mandalorian. But overall, I absolutely love this episode. I love this season. I love this show. I love the characters. And as I said, I stand by what I said a few weeks ago. The Mandalorian is perfect fan service. It's perfect. The Rise of Skywalker is an example of where it kind of pushes that element but fails. The Mandalorian is an example of where it's done perfectly with Bo-Katan, with Ahsoka Tano, with Boba Fett, with Luke freaking Skywalker, Mark Hamill himself coming back, with R2-D2. Brilliant. The name drops, the planets, everything has been brilliant about this season. Perfect? No. Not even it's perfect. But can you sit there? Can you enjoy this season? Can you love these characters in this show? You absolutely can. And for me, I absolutely loved it. Now, I thought maybe they'd have a different actor standing in for Luke Skywalker and they just dropped the name Luke Skywalker. This is Luke Skywalker and that's who the actor is. Or they might have just done a faceless cameo and then cast someone for season 3. They could have did that, but I'm glad in a way that they used Mark Hamill. Because it is that connective tissue to the old trilogy and it's pretty cool. If you had someone else come in, it could have been a bit controversial. Like with Han Solo himself, to recast that role. So, yeah, guys, I really enjoyed this episode. Baby Grogu is now off with, or Baby Yoda is now off with Luke Skywalker training to be a Jedi. Will he come back? Will Mando, will they reunite? What happens to Mando in season 3? Will we see most of him? Or is it going to be a Boba Fett season? Because they're shooting Boba Fett right now, which many thought was a Boba Fett spin-off show. And people were like, why didn't they announce that at the Disney Investor Day? Well, at the post-credits scene, we see Boba Fett has gone back to his old ways, his old tricks of being a bad guy, being a rogue. So what's going to happen to him in the next season? Is he going to be a villain? It's interesting stuff, guys. So many elements for season 3 to look forward to, and the High Republic spin-off, and the Ahsoka Tano spin-off. How does this all come together? And Moff Gideon is still alive. He tried to commit suicide near the end because he knew he was defeated. He knew all his tricks were gone, all his wild cards. The Dark Troopers failed. He lost in battle to Mando, but he was willing to kill himself. But Cara Dune steps in, knocks him out. So what's going to happen to him in season 3? Does he come into it even more? Does Luke Skywalker come back? How did they do that with the effects of Mark Hamill? Is he going to be a pivotal character in this overall arc where the High Republic with Mandalorian with Ahsoka Tano are all connected in a way, and they said that at the Disney Investor Day. But I'm intrigued and I'm excited. We have to wait until December 2021 for season 3, a year away. And I think we get an episode or a few episodes going with the post-credit scene. The Book of Boba Fett. What is that? Is that a mini-series? Is that a mini-series of episodes going to happen in season 3? How does Pedro Pascal's Mando come into it? Is he now the leader of the Mandalore? Is he going to be challenged by Bo-Katan? What exactly is going to happen? It's interesting. Can the show survive without that interaction between Baby Yoda and Mando? Can it? I had my doubts, but now after seeing this episode, I think it could work in a way. I think it could really work. And do we get scenes where you see Luke Skywalker training Grogu? That would be amazing. R2-D2 there as well. I don't know, guys. But it's just fascinating for me, and I absolutely love this episode. I love this season. I love this show. I love these characters, and I can't wait for season 3. It's a year away, but if the quality is as good as these past 2 seasons, then I don't mind waiting. But guys, let me know your thoughts on the Mandalorian season 2 finale. Season finale, episode 8, chapter 16, The Rescue. What did you make of it? Did you like it? Did you like the return of Luke Skywalker? R2-D2? Do you think the effects could have been better? Do you think they should have used an actor? What do you think this means for season 3? So many questions, so many arcs expanded, but also this kind of story. This chapter is now closed, and I think it closed in a beautiful way with that last shot. Guys, give a like, comment, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, I appreciate you being a subscriber. And guys, subscribe if you aren't. We'll talk about the one thing we love, which is movies and all these kind of TV shows. I love it. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Have a good night. Amazing stuff.